Hi, this is Sean Lewis from Journeys Worldwide. Today we're going to be talking to Lydia Nanduru from Nkuringo Safaris in Uganda. We'll be talking about the gorillas. Now that's definitely a bucket list item. Lydia, great to see you again. It's been a while since I've been in Uganda, probably about, I think it's about 2 years now. And thank you for coming on the show with us. It's good to see you.
No, thank you for having me.
Lydia, you own Nkuringo Safaris and you have the Nkuringo camp, and there is a group of gorillas called the Nkuringo Group, which you led us to. Well, you didn't personally, but your guides led us to when we were there, and we had a fantastic experience with the Nkuringo Group. How are the gorillas doing at the moment?
Actually, the gorillas are okay. We are trying to push so much of our conservation. That's why we are working now with the rangers to make sure that even when there's COVID and there are no tourists, they should keep in the forest and keep those gorillas. So it's very exciting that even during these bad times, the gorillas, there's been a very big baby boom. So many babies are just, at least a gorilla is having a baby every month. So there's something good at the end of the tunnel. So
That's
yeah.
fantastic news. I'd see that there's been a few babies. Unfortunately, when I was there, we didn't see any. But the Nkuringo group have had how many babies?
The Nkuringo group right now is a little bit unstable because we know about the death of Rafiki.
Unfortunately,
This happened
yes.
during
Yeah.
the lockdown. tourism being the main focus for these people in Bwindi with the lockdown and no tourists, I think guys had to look for alternative, which became the forest. And sadly, we had a few people from the community that ended up interacting with the gorillas, and that resulted into the death of Rafiki. I think he must have crossed path with the poachers, and maybe they felt threatened, and he ended up being killed.
So
And
just for the
since
viewers'
then,
sake, Rafiki was the main silverback in the group, and
yeah, he was the
there were
main
two
silverback
silverbacks,
in
and he was the
Kibale.
leading silverback.
Yes, but unfortunately, the other silverback Kosho went to start his own family. So right now, the Nkuringo group is being led by Ramute, who is just a blackback.
Okay, because the other silverback, can you remind me his name? It was something to do with pretty lips or something like that.
There was Posho and Christmas. I think Christmas is the one that now has his own family.
Okay,
So the
and
other
Porsche.
one, who is more like the guy, is called Posho. Posho now has his own family.
Okay.
He's started his own group. So he's moved away from the Nkuringo group. So we were hoping he would just come back and take over the remaining members, but he's happy on his own. He's very
And
happy on
how
his
did
own.
he get his name? What does Porsche mean?
What would just mean ugali, but I think he's just this guy who likes posing. He's so photogenic. He just likes the photos. So maybe they ended up calling him Posho because he's just full of life.
Okay. And generally, your groups when you go out, you've pretty much got a 100% sighting rate. Is that right?
Yes, very, very right.
Okay. And
The
I
viewing
know,
of the gorillas was very good.
yeah, and when we were there, and I know it is very much the case, they're very strict that each group of gorillas is only allowed one group of tourists to be with them every day, and it's very strictly limited to 1 hour. I know our ranger was watching the clock. As the 1 hour hit, he said, "Right, let's go," and which I think is a great thing. But do you think that like COVID might have an impact? Well, it obviously would have an impact on the gorillas. Are people still being allowed to go and visit the gorillas?
Yeah, since September, Uganda opened up for tourism, and the groups are all open for viewing. The only restrictions that are there are the normal. You have to wear a mask and you have to keep the social distance. But this has always been the case with the gorillas. We had to keep the 7 to 10 meter distance. But there are wild animals out there, and they will always want to come close, but the distances are being respected. And clients who go to see the gorillas have to wear a mask. And then the other protocols of sanitizing and not dumping things around the forest. So yes, people can still now see the gorillas. The gorilla tourism is very open. And every day we still have rangers that go out to monitor these gorillas, because we know that when they store, we saw the dangers that come with when they're not monitored. People will just go into the parks. So even when we are in COVID time, the Uganda Wildlife Authority, the rangers are still doing their job.
Good news. That's great. So yeah, and the camp. From the camp, you got the most beautiful view. You look down onto the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest, and at the back you look across into the Democratic Republic of Congo and the volcanoes and the range across there. And
Yes.
used to, and I think you still do walking safaris across that way.
Yeah, the Nkuringo walking safari, which became mainly for us. We thought that these are how do we create employment within the community? Where tourists were always coming in the vehicles, we felt like the tourists would not have the opportunity to immerse themselves in the local community and meet the people and interact with the people in Bwindi. So with the Nkuringo walking safari, our main aim was employment of the youth, where the local guides that we have trained would take the clients through their homes. And as they're doing what they do every day, they are still able to make a living. So this has been very great. And also in supporting the community, you're supporting conservation, because once the guys know that they have an income coming out of tourism directly, then they are enforced, or they will take it in force to ensure that the members protect the forest, because that's why the tourists are coming to the community. So with Nkuringo Walking Safari, we kind of just try to take the clients, take them off the beaten track, try to showcase Uganda for what it is, because it's very, very beautiful. And if you're just in the vehicle, you'd miss out. Imagine walking in a 36,000 old forest, the Bwindi Impenetrable Forest. When you look at it on the outside, it looks impenetrable. But then when you walk in there, the silence, the whispers from the butterflies to the birds to the primates, we felt that it was a great way to showcase more than the gorillas. So with Nkuringo Walking Safaris, it's more like beyond the gorilla safari. We want the clients to enjoy nature. It's well designed for those that are nature lovers, those who are into conservation, those who are into people, those who love ecotourism. So with the walking safari, we've seen it grow. And from the start, when it was a simple 2-day walk, we're now seeing more of the high-end clients just wishing to just be out of that vehicle. You have been on a 16-hour flight to Entebbe. You don't want to be bumped around in a vehicle. So the clients end up enjoying these walking safaris.
It's great. And I remember one of the things you organized for us, and I think you do it for most groups, it's a voluntary thing, is you can canoe across Lake Mutanda on the way. And when I say canoe, you just sit and somebody else paddles you. And it's a fantastic, very peaceful, very serene, beautiful way to just spend an hour or so going across the lake. And you get to the other side, you get out your walk, and you walk through the local village where you become an attraction, and all the kids, they come running around, and they loved it. And it's a great experience for tourists as well.
That's very true. Yes. And the beautiful thing about the canoe excursion is that the canoes don't belong to us. They belong to the local fisherman that is paddling. So we are also still getting income for them. So they do the paddling, but they maintain the canoes. We just provide them with the life jackets. We provide them with the cushions. So every time you send a client on one of these canoe excursions, you're supporting directly the fisherman, which is a very exciting thing for us as Nkuringo Safaris.
Because that's been a lot of your focus. And Lydia, am I right in saying that even before you started Nkuringo Safaris, your background was helping the community, and you set up a number of projects within the local village, and you were working and you set up a women's sewing group and various other projects, am I right?
Yes, personally, professionally, I'm a social worker. I have a bachelor's degree in social work. Recently, I went back for a degree. I'm doing a law degree right now, hoping to do more advocacy for women and to support the poor in the communities, and trying to create about empowerment. And mostly our focus is in skills development. And that's how you see that in Nkuringo, even when I joined tourism, I still wanted to do what I love, which is community work. And we have developed so many projects within Bwindi. We started up the Nkuringo Youth Initiative project when I joined tourism as a youth myself. So my focus was to support the youth, to see them get employment, to see them trained. And we have had so many young people who have been trained through tourism. And I'm recently, as in Nkuringo, and I'm seeing one of them coming for member of parliament, and I was telling him, "You're my product." I've seen some build up schools right now. They become responsible members of the society, which makes us happy. And now my focus, as I've also now grown, I'm a mother of 3. I'm now doing more of the women group, supporting the women, because I believe if you support the women, then they will ensure their children go to school. And maybe when they see a woman like me in tourism, they're excited.
Absolutely. No, it's great. And I know we got to see quite a bit of the work that you've been doing within the local village, which is right next to the camp. And another interesting part, which a lot of people don't really know about, is the Batwa community. And it's something that very few people actually get to go, but you provide access to go and see the Batwa.
Yeah. Yeah, the Batwa people, these are the pygmies. We know that from Central Africa, the Albertine Rift areas, we have this, we have the pygmy people who were hunter-gatherers. They lived in the forest for so many years until 1991 in Uganda, when Bwindi was gazetted off as a national park. The pygmies had to be moved out of the forest and brought to live within the communities, which has still been a hard thing for them to adjust. So we try to work with the pygmies just in ways of, like, recently I just went and donated some sewing machines because they needed clothing, and we're like, instead of giving you a handout, here are the sewing machines, you can make clothes for your own for your children. So with the community, to try to also keep and protect their history, we do what they call the Buniga Batwa Walk. It's a 2-hour, it's dramatized walking safari within the Buniga forest, where the Batwa now retell the story of how they lived in Bwindi. And this, to me, I feel like is supporting the children to understand where they come from, their roots, and so that this does not get lost with the older generation. So we work a lot with the Batwa, mainly through the walking safari. They work as guides within the Buniga forest, retelling their story. And it's very interesting to see who the Batwa are and how joyful these people are. And mostly from history, they used to be the entertainers. So people would call them on to entertain. So at the end of the day, when you finish the walking, it will always end up with a very beautiful Batwa dance, which to me, I feel it makes them happy to do this. And it will be very, very good for more clients to experience the Batwa. Most of the trips, because our main popular trips are the 8-day primate, which is mainly the Bwindi, the gorillas, and the chimpanzee trekking, including Queen Elizabeth Park. But we have more clients go for the Explore Uganda, which is that 12 days to 14-day safari that will take you from Bwindi to Lake Imburo, where you're able to do walking safaris in the park. Queen Elizabeth Park is also very known for the tree climbing lions, as you just mentioned, but also it's one of the parks where you can do a game drive on a boat. So there's the Kazinga Channel where you can do a very beautiful game drive, lots of bird life. Kibale Forest Park, which is good for primates, and there's birders love this place. If you're looking for the Renzori Turako, you come to Uganda. We have a lot of the Albertine endemics. Then you go up to Murchison Falls, the very beautiful waterfall, 45 meters deep. And clients also go there for 2-3 days on game drive safaris. And then also the most exciting place, which is not very popularly visited, is the Kidepo Valley National Park, which is also very, very serene and beautiful. That it's we always say we can compare it to the Mara in the 1990s, when there are no tourists. It's just a few people there, and the wildlife and the safaris are very amazing. And also the culture of the Karamojongs, the Karamojong people up in Kidepo also present a very good cultural experience for clients. We also do some hikes there's a tribe called the Ik, which was just discovered 10 years ago, that there was a tribe that lived up in the mountains. And now clients go there, and they live by, they're beekeepers, and everything in their community is honey is the main source of, is the medium of exchange. Give me this, I give you a bottle of honey. So it's very exciting that there's a lot more to see in Uganda than the gorillas. When you go down to the Nile, rafting, for those who are looking for something that is active, you can do rafting on the Nile. You could do boat trips on the Nile. So, and also back to Entebbe, the Mabamba swamp, where clients are now very happy to get to go and see the shoebill stock in Mabamba. So Uganda has a lot to offer, from safaris to primates to culture.
That was certainly one of the highlights of my trip. The gorillas were obviously definitely the main highlight. But from Entebbe, where you organized for us to go onto Maramba Swamp and to go and see the shoebill stork, what a weird prehistoric bird, very rare, and being a birder, it was certainly top of my list to see, and very exciting to get to see. We saw a couple, and it was a great experience. And again, it's involving the community there. You made sure that we get involved with the community, and so it's giving back. And so they're looking after those swamps now where the shoebill is, which is great because it's such a rare bird, and it's being looked after because people see the financial value of it.
Yeah, Uganda has more than 60 tribes that from one part of Uganda to the next part of Uganda, there will be a different language. So our national language is English. However, if you move from A to B, you will not find one place that speaks the same language, which makes us very diverse in culture, in language, in what we give. And yes, we have had a very bad historical past with Idi Amin, but we have seen peace come back to Uganda. We have seen the youth, even seeing a woman being in business, it's a very big achievement for Uganda and for Ugandans. So we have moved forward, and I think in the years to come there will be more growth in this country.
Absolutely. I think a woman in business, and a woman who's done so well. Well done, Lydia. It's been very good. How are the rhinos doing up in the north? You got the white rhinos?
Yes, we do have the white rhinos in Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary, and we've also had at least 2 new bats this year. So the population has increased to over 22 right now, the rhinos there. And there's hopes that they will be integrated back into the wild, but right now they're still at the Ziwa Rhino Sanctuary. And the team there, clients can go and do a walking safari still with the trekkers, which is also another activity on top of all the wildlife safaris that we take you on. So you're able to now go one-on-one with a guide and learn more about the rhinos and how, because they were extinct out of Uganda during the war time, and now to see that we are having at least 22 of them now in the country, it's a very good thing for conservation, and we're trying to push that they can maybe be put back into the wild, but this is still being studied.
That's a fantastic step forward for Uganda and for the wildlife. Well, Lydia, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And thank you for your time. And we'll hopefully be able to catch up with you again soon. And hopefully we'll be able to travel again soon.
Oh, yeah, all measures are in place right now. Uganda is open for tourism. Yes, you still need a 72-hour negative test to present in Entebbe. Other than that, we're just hoping that maybe a vaccine will come and people can travel again. And we are all prepared. In Nkuringo Lodge, we are doing a new dining that will have a 360 view. So this time around, I think there's something to be excited about from Nkuringo Safaris and from
something
us in
even
Bwindi.
More to be excited about. You've got so much to be excited about already anyway. You've got such beautiful views from the camp there. Well, that's great. And I know that you've been putting a lot of policies in place, and you've got COVID-safe protocols, and it's all under control. So let's just hope that everybody starts traveling again soon.
Yeah, looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Sean. It was a pleasure seeing you and talking to you.
Thank you, Lydia, and hopefully see you soon. We've been talking to Lydia Nandudu from Nkuringo Safaris in Uganda. It's been great to hear that the gorillas are doing well and that there's been a bit of a baby boom. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next time.